So it's 6 a.m. in the morning here. Different time. It's your time zones, but I think we can slowly start. We have a tight schedule today, only 1 hour, and yeah, people will join probably also later, but we can just go ahead and start. Yes. So good morning. Yeah, good morning from Mongolia. Good morning. Good morning, good day, good evening to you, wherever you're joining us from. Well, yeah, thanks so much for joining this webinar, and it's really good to see you all. Also too good to see many familiar faces. Many of you probably know me already. My name is Dana Conrad, and I'm a project officer here at the UNIP Copenhagen Climate Center, working for the Civic project, so the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency Global Support Program, under which the Climate Transparency Platform has been developed. Also, good morning from Vietnam, from Myanmar. Thanks for joining. I'm also joined here today by two other colleagues, by Alejandro Regatero, who will show you later in detail how to edit your project and country profiles, and will do kind of the main meat of the webinar. And we also joined by Katsira Komalu, who is a transparency officer in the project and who works closely on the platform and the project in general. And of course, also Jaipal, not to forget the coordinator from Asia, which you all know, hopefully. Yeah, we're very happy about this webinar today for content editors on the platform. As you probably know, we have launched the platform back in June at the SBs, and we're still doing further smaller developments. But now it's really about getting the platform populated with all the information related to climate transparency and really making it a useful place for everyone in the climate transparency community, and to make it come alive, basically. So that's what we are missing now, and that's where we need your engagement and your input. And this is why we are having the webinar today for content editors, basically. Yeah, Ravneet is also there. Hi, Ravneet, the colleague from the network coordinator from the Pacific. Some colleagues from the Pacific also know. Yeah, so that's why we're having the webinar today for content editors on the platform, namely for country focal points and for project focal points. We also have agency focal points, but the focus is really from the to focus on the country focal points and the project focal points here today. And yeah, these two types of focal points are really key stakeholders in the platform, and really have a great responsibility in keeping it updated. And the aim of the webinar is to really show you how to do all these updates, how to go about it, how to navigate your dashboard, how to upload documents. And Alejandro will show you later in detail how to do that. And he also prepared some exercises to make it a bit more hands-on for you. And before I tell you a bit more about the different user roles on the platform, I will like to do a very short Mentimeter, just to get everyone activated and to get some insights. So let me quickly share my screen. Just a second. Yes, here you can see the Mentimeter instructions. We also copy the link to the Menti in the chat. But you can also go directly to menti.com and enter the code, or if you have your phone ready, you can scan the QR code. That should also lead you to the presentations. Yes, give you just a few seconds to go there, and then let's try to go to the first slide. Yeah, we've probably seen this slide many times already in our webinars, but it is still good to see where you are joining us from today. We already seen in the chat from Malaysia, from Myanmar. Let's see. So we have India. Not sure. Yeah, Myanmar. Yes, great to see you. So we have different people here from India, Malaysia, Myanmar, Mongolia, Philippines. Yeah, thanks so much for your answers. It's really good to see. Just 1 more second, and then we go to the next slide. Yes, also from the Pacific. Great. Thanks for joining. And then let me go to the next slide. Have you already registered on the new climate transparency platform? We just want to get a glimpse of of it. If you haven't registered it, it's no problem. You can always register anytime, but just to see. So quite a few have already registered. That's good to see. And yeah, no worries. You can always register later after this webinar or during the webinar. Yes. And then let me go to the next slide, the second slide. What is your user role on the climate transparency platform? Are you a project manager, a project focal point? Are you a country focal point? Might also be that you're an agency focal point or something completely else, or you might not be sure yet what you are, which is also fine. Yeah, so we have others, a few project focal points. That's good. One country focal point as well. That's great to see. Yes, quite a few others. Yes, that's good. Yes, and this webinar is also about kind of clarifying a bit the roles and what you can do. Exactly. Yes, thank you so much for your answers. I will stop here now because we have quite a lot to go through. So yeah, and then I will tell you a bit about just a second. Then I will tell you a bit about more about the user roles basically, and a bit of the background on the platform. Yes, yeah, so the climate transparency platform, what was the objective basically of developing it? So the objective of the platform is really to provide a one-stop shop for climate transparency. So where all climate transparency information is collected in one place instead of having to navigate different multiple websites. Currently, things are spread out over the UNFCCC page, the GEF page, the different agency pages. But the idea was really to gather it all in one place and provide better access to knowledge and information related to climate transparency and essentially. And here in the figure, you see basically all the elements that we have captured in the platform. So you have all transparency projects, you have kind of a knowledge center with transparency resources, you have country profiles with information on transparency and different other functionalities that we've implemented in the platform. And what we really want to highlight today is that the platform is a platform for and by the climate transparency community. So if you could go to the next slide. So everyone in the climate transparency community, but especially the content editors, have really an important part to play in making this a useful place and keep the information updated, keeping the platform alive essentially. Because we here in Copenhagen, we cannot know what's all happening in your countries and your projects, and so we really call on you to make the space, to make it your space basically, keep it updated and make it useful for others. So we really see it as a shared responsibility, and we are very much looking forward to building it together with you. We're also very happy to hear feedback, suggestions. You can always reach out to us. Of course, if you have issues uploading, updating stuff on your pages, we are also here for you. And on the next slide, you see the different user profiles and roles, as we've also just mentioned right now in the Mentimeter. So we have different content editors, basically. And the one in the boxes here, the nominated country representatives or the country focal points, and the project focal points are the two kind of groups that we're focusing on today. We also have the agency focal points, as I mentioned. They will not go into detail today. And in addition, we also have other users, or what we call non-editors. So the network users, other users. So they don't have any editing right per se, but those users can still navigate the platform. They can still engage in the forums, in the communities of practice pages, and so on. So this is basically the overview of the users that we have on the platform, just as background and for better understanding for you. Now zooming in a bit on the user roles. So the country focal point, as I just mentioned, these are basically a number of different country focal points on the platform. So we have, of course, the kind of very official focal points as the UNFCCC focal point, the national gender and climate focal points under the UNFCCC that many countries also have. We have a JEF focal point that's also kind of all this information is publicly available. And then we also have under the CBGSP, we have some nominated country focal points, like a general focal point for the project, but also different thematic focal points for the different areas of the ETF. Where kind of focal points can also have multiple thematic areas. So it's a whole range of different country focal points, and you can see them, for instance, here in the profile of Lao PDR. They're also all listed there. There's a specific section for national focal points, and these are all basically available on the country profile. And the country focal points have editing rights for the country profile. So they can update the country profile. In this case, they can update the profile for Lao PDR. Yes. And on the next slides, if we now move to the project focal points, we kind of have two different type of project focal points based on the projects. So there's the Civic projects and Jeff enabling activity projects. They are slightly different, very slightly, but they contain basically the same information. And so we have project focal points for Civic projects. Here, for instance, here an example by Nepal, and usually the project focal point would also be listed under project details that can be added later. And then we also have project focal points for Jeff enabling activities. Here, as here in the case for Malaysia, for their first PTR project. And you basically have editing rights for your project pages and keeping it updated with news and events. Now I talked about the editing rights, but rights always come with responsibilities. And in the next slide, I would just want to quickly highlight the editing responsibilities, as we call them. So the country focal points, your responsibility is really to keep the country profile up to date. We suggest regular updates, monthly or whenever it's relevant. So whenever your country publishes a new report. So next year, if a BTR comes through or national communication, if you've updated your NDC or your country has updated or published a NAP or LTLETs, this can all be uploaded there. Also, if you have any other relevant national climate policy documents, adaptation strategy, or NDC implementation plan, this can all be uploaded on your country profile. And of course, also if the country focal points change, that's also very important information. So you can upload this. And lastly, also, if there are any interesting country news and events, for instance, there's a Civic project launched, or an LTLETS is launched, or you have some events at COP and Climate Week. So this can all be published on your website, on your country profile, so to say, and it will be featured there. And lastly, also opportunities. So if you have any open positions for related to climate transparency, if you're, for instance, looking for project manager for your Civic project, you can also publish it on the climate transparency platform, and you have a much wider reach through that. And similar is also for the project focal points. In your case, it will be to keep the project page up to date, updated, and we also just suggest here regular updates and whenever relevant. So if there's new project details coming in, if the project focal point changes, if you have new project documents, may it be a report, a stakeholder report, some TORs, etc. This can all be uploaded on your project page, basically. And also, then there are a few elements that are relevant for Civic projects regarding the project indicators, and also tracking the status of your project implementation. And as in the country focal point, you can also upload news and events for your project. So if there's, I don't know, an inception workshop coming up for your Civic project, or a stakeholder workshop, you can all post this on your project page. And the same also for opportunities. So if you're looking for a consultant to do specific parts of your project, of your Civic project or something, then you can also post it on the website. And you can see the green box here. So just to highlight that the news and events and the opportunities are basically added through dedicated buttons on your dashboard. But you will see it in a very short while when Alejandro will basically show you how to update all these things. Yes, it was actually my background and the clue to give over to Alejandro to give you the actual guidance on how to update these things. Yes, so over to you, Alejandro. Thanks a lot, colleagues.
Thank you, Susanna. Let me stop sharing my screen. And I just wanted to add that all of these responsibilities and exercises that we're going to go through today are also covered in a guidance document that we have prepared and that we will share with you after the meeting. So you will have a specific document where you can have step-by-step instructions on how to do all of these editing activities and how to take care of them, how to work with us, because it's not only going to be you who are responsible, but it's a matter of shared responsibility among all of us, and we will be supporting you along the way and going through the reminders and the pages as well regularly, just to make sure that everything is up to date. Let me share the screen with the platform. We figured out that the best way to show this editing responsibilities was to simply go over them. So we have selected some examples. In this case, for today, we're going to use Thailand as an example, not to signal it, not to point any fingers, and not for any reason in particular. Just randomly, we chose Thailand. So what we have done is simply already go to the Thailand country page and project page, and already deleted some information that I will take you through throughout this webinar, and when we will be updating it together. But first, before, I wanted to just quickly touch on the registration, because I saw two things: that some of you have still not registered, which is fine, but also that many of you, when we are asking the kind of user role, you are putting other, and this is good to know. Let me log out, because there are specific profiles that you can choose if you are not sure what is your role in the platform. So now I have logged out. I'm going to click register, and this is what you can see is the registration page for the climate transparency platform, where you can create a new account. The data here is quite standard. It's a name, gender, email. The username is created automatically. So for example, if I put here my name, Alejandro, last name, Regatero, you can see the username is created automatically, Alejandro Regatero. This is the standard format, just for uniformity and for easiness to access on our side whenever we need to send email or identify specific users. Then a password, confirm password that you can always change if you forget it, of course. And then country and transparency network. It's important to choose the transparency network if you know that you are a part of one. In this case, many of you will be from Asia network or from Pacific network. So feel free to click on the transparency network, and this in the future is going to be helpful for you, because it's already going to direct you to all the network related activities and forums that we will have ready. And then here is please select a user profile. So we have all of these different profiles that Susanna has previously explained, and we have a bit of an explanation on each of these profiles in case you are not sure, so that you can read about them a little bit and realize, okay, I'm actually not a project focal point or an agency focal point, but a transparency network user or another user. And this is where I wanted to get to. There were a lot of other users when we were doing the Mentimeters. And when you register in the platform, do read the difference between transparency network users and other users. In practicality, is not much. You will have the same editing rights. You will access the same forums, whether you're a transparency network user and other user. But uh, clicking whether you are a transparency network user or not is going to help us have a good overview of exactly which members are part of which network, and feed you the targeted information. Whenever there is any events of interest for you, or guidance or tools for you, we will be able to know who to send it to, essentially. But transparency network users is for those who are not project manager or country focal point, as Susanna explained, but they are still engaged in activities within one of the Civic GSP transparency networks. Whereas other users Other users are not necessarily engaged in Civic transparency networks and are other members of the transparency community. It can be academia, private sector consultant, or any other field that doesn't fit within the other user profiles. So this said, feel free to check the registration page to try to register your profile. If you have any problems, do contact us. We are here to help you. If you have any doubts as well, whether you're not sure what the kind of profile you should put, you please also let us know, and we will help you. This for the registration. Now let me log in again to my profile, and we can start some of the exercises. All right, so this that you can see here is my dashboard. It's a pretty lengthy one, simply because I am part of the administration team. But when you have some of the other profiles, it will look a bit different. If you are a Transparency Network user or another user, you will most likely get the edit profile, and you will also be able to participate in the forums, in the communities of practice, in the networks, etc. So don't think that just because you're not an editor, you don't have access to the platform. It's just the responsibility of editing certain page regularly. That's the only difference. If you are a country manager, a country focal point, sorry, or a project manager, you will see some of these buttons that we will have in common. For example, the Civic Project Manager.
We just say Mr. Suman.
Oh, sorry, if you could mute yourself,
We
colleagues,
just say
it would
Mr.
be.
Suman, even in the website it's
You're muted, Alejandro.
Alejandro.
Yeah, you're muted.
I muted myself, sorry.
Yes,
I was
no worries.
I was going to say, if you have any question, please feel free to raise your hand and Susanna will catch it, or unmute yourself and stop me. Feel free. This we just want to have as a informal session with you so that you can see the platform. So feel free to stop me if you have to. All right, I see one question over there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask about the transparent network user, because we don't know whether we are belongs to belonging to that network user or not. So my question is, do you have a list of names from each country for transparent network user nominated by National Focal Point? How do we know that? Thank you.
Yes, we do have lists. Perhaps Susanna, you can explain this a bit more.
Yes, so transparency network user, it's basically a big group of users. So it's a bit similar to other users, but if you think you are related to a network, and I think you are, if you feel you're connected to the Asia Transparency Network through JetPal, then I would choose the transparency network user. It's just that you're directly then connected to the Asia network. And other users, as Alejandro said, it's more like if they are private consultants or academia, not really related into the network activities. But I see you here now in the webinar for the Asia Pacific, so I think we can consider you, or you can consider yourself as a network users, and then you can choose also the one box for where you choose the transparency network. So I guess in this case it will be Asia, and then it's just then you are automatically included in the transparency network and can access the forum and the transparency network of Asia. Yeah, so this is the explanation. And other users is more like people who are working at the fringes of transparency, are not really engaged in the kind of CBGSP transparency networks. But if you are joining webinars, then you can consider yourself as a transparency network user. But good question. It's a bit confusing with all these different user profiles.
Yes, thank you, Susanna. I think there is no strong set of rules that qualifies or not as a network user, but in this case, you are all in this webinar and you are all aware with the CVGSP. You get regular updates from JPAL and you are mostly in many of these webinars that we're doing. So I would qualify all of you as network users, actually.
We have one more question from Sonam. Please go ahead, Sonam.
Thank you.
Yes,
I just
hello.
wanted. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you. Mhm.
Thank you. I just wanted to know that like currently we have like other platform where we we have so many platform, online platform portal where we can submit our like national obligation through the UNCCC. But having this new one, this climate transparency platform, is that after once this transparency platform is fully in mode, active mode, then other portal will become obsolete. Is that like that?
Yes, and thank you for that question, Sonam. I think many of you are actually aware and familiar with the previous Civic platform, the Civic Global Coordination Platform. And this platform is the one that is going to be discontinued. We have created the Climate Transparency Platform as a ways of merging the old Global Support Program and the Civic Global Coordination Platform. And the result is having all the same content or the relevant content of both of those websites in one single platform here, plus an additional set of functionalities that we have added. So those two platforms will be obsolete, and soon actually when you click on the Civic platform as I have done, it will automatically redirect you to this website.
And also just to add, we cannot replace, of course, the UNFCCC website. So you still have to submit your reports to the UNFCCC. That's just the formality and so on. But we think it's still nice to have it all collected in one country profile and to upload your reports and climate policies there. Not sure what other platforms you are referring to, but we cannot substitute the UNFCCC, of course, but we want to still gather all information into one place and make it more accessible for everyone. So for other countries also to look at your profile, how many communications have you submitted, and so it's we don't see it as a duplication. It's more like a centralization of information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sonam. All right, if there are no more questions for now, then we can go on with the exercises. As you can see, this is what I have in the dashboard. And for those of you who are project managers or nominated country focal points, you will see some of these buttons as well. For example, Civic Project Management, Active Transparency Projects, Jeff Enabling Activities, Manage News, Events, Knowledge Center, Opportunities, and manage countries, this depending whether you're a country focal point or not. And you will see, for example, if I click on manage countries here, you will see that I see all the countries. But again, this is just me being an admin member, but you will only see the country that you are a nominated focal point for. So it will be very easy and direct for you actually to just have link here to your country profile and then click on edit or go directly to the page. Also, we have created the dashboard so that it's easy for you and for us to have one single space where all the editing is done. Of course, you can navigate the page in many different ways. In this case with Thailand, I could go to countries and I could click Thailand here or look for Thailand in the map or in the list. I could also, I don't even need to go to countries. If I am just looking for a Civic project, for example, I could click on the map. This is also, as I have explained in previous webinars, click on the map and go directly to Thailand to get a link to the Civic project and the country profile. But just so for easiness of use and so that you have a repository of all the changes that you have done or all the areas that you can change, you have the dashboard here to help you. So let's start with the country page of Thailand. If we click on Manage Country and we select Thailand, we will be able to see here the project page, the country page, and the edit button. For now, we're going to go to the country page. And I just want to show you how it looks for those of you who haven't seen it yet. We have here a quick area where we can feature important upcoming events or news or calls for consultants, for example. And we have here information about the national focal points. We have here a UNFCCC focal point and several appointed thematic focal points for Civic GSP. So we put all the information here for you. If you need to work with them, if you need to reach out to them, please write to us or write to the network coordinator, in this case, Jaipal, and he will be happy to put you in contact. And even for those of those who are UNFCCC focal points or JEF focal points, these are public record, and we will have the contact information here as well. I don't know if you will catch this, but there's actually right now one focal point missing. That is the JEF focal point, which is something that I have previously deleted, so that we can go together and show you how to update this and how to change focal points for whenever that is necessary. The next area is the country transparency information, where we have the key ratification deadline dates, the UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, and Paris Agreement, and some series of useful links to key transparency information and national climate documents to UNFCCC. Here, the record of NCs, VURs, NIR, and adaptation communications, as well as the NDCs and LT-LEDs. There is also some things missing here that we're going to go through today, and that is the NC number 4 and the updated NDC. So I'm going to show you how to edit this, how to change the link. If there is a wrong link, for example, here say that you have you click on the link to the VUR and it's a broken link because there's been a change in UNFCCC page, or because there's an incorrect link. I'm going to show you how to change this. Then after the country transparency information, there is a repository of country projects that are registered here in the climate transparency platform happening in Thailand. This is also one of the roles of the country focal points. If you know of other transparency related projects, you are more than welcome to let us know, or to put us in contact also with the projects to tell us that we need to update the pipeline, essentially, so that this will appear in the Thailand page. And lastly, the self-assessment, which is a legacy from the previous Civic Global Coordination Platform, and is a tool that we developed to make it possible to countries to go through a self-assessment methodology to assess their different transparency needs. This self-assessment right now is this methodology is under review, and once we have the updated methodology, we will let you all know, and we will open a call again to go through the self-assessment. This is how it looks in the front end of the page. This is what all users will see. But for those of you who are national focal points of Thailand, you will be able to see these buttons here, including the edit button. You will be able to edit the Thailand page. If you go and click on edit, this is what you see on the other side. You see all the different areas that you can edit: country details, transparency information, climate documents, the self-assessment, other relevant climate documents that are not necessarily submitted to UNFCCC. For example, an important sectoral or national level policy, and the different national focal points. And we're going to go through all these different areas and how to edit them and what has to be done. It's quite self-explanatory. We have made it as easy as possible, but still we realize it's a new thing. So that's why we have created this guidance document, and that's why we're doing this training for all of you to have the info. Still, if you have any problems throughout the editing, we will be happy to help you. Here, for example, we see the region for Thailand is not included. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Asia. And a little note here on latitude and longitude, you don't need to do anything. This is just internal, just to we needed to create this for creating the maps. So you don't have to worry about it. You see here a button for published and a button for saving. So once you are done with the pertinent changes, you can click save to make sure that no changes are lost. Let's go ahead and go to the transparency information. If we go to the transparency information, we see here a lot of different links and dates. Everything can seem quite the same. But if we look a bit more in detail, we see the different transparency information, the submitted reports, and the first step here we have is the type of report. When we click on the type of report, we already have a series of reports. That is what we want you to record here. So when you edit, or when there is a new report, you have to look into first what is included in the page. We can see that there is a space for national communications, and there is 1, 2, 3 national communications, each one with a link and a date. This is so that it's easy for you. If you see, as I mentioned before, there's a problem with the link for the first national communication, as it's as easy as just changing the link here to the PDF. We use the UNFCCC registry, so we only put here the already publicly available information. If we go down after all the NCs, we see the same, but for the BURs. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 BURs here. The same with the NIR and adaptation communications. Now, from your perspective, as a country focal point that has to update the website, now there are 2 things that we can do here. The first one is I need to add another kind of report that is not an adaptation communication, is not an NIR, not a BUR, and not an NC. But I don't see already submitted reports here. What do? You have to go to the bottom of the page and click on Add Submitted Reports. You would click here, and it would appear the same kind of box, but this one is fully empty for you to fill in. You choose exactly what you want. For example, say that it's an ICA, and you put the pertinent link and year. Then once this is done and you're ready with your changes, you don't have any more to change, you go to save, and this will be reflected. Say that you made a mistake and you didn't want to actually put this extra layer of reports. Click here in the 3 dots, remove, and easy as that. As I had mentioned before, there is one NC4 that is not reflected here. So the other thing, how to change this, if you just want to add an NC and you see that there's already 3, you go to the bottom of all the national communications that are recorded, and it says here, add report. So I will click on add report, and I already have the space for the link and the year of the NC4. I have it here, actually. This is Thailand's for National Communications, and it was submitted in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please correct me. But what I'm gonna do here is now go to the link, copy it, and paste it here. All right, so now we have here, we have prepared the change. And I'm gonna go to national climate documents submitted to UNFCCC, because I don't know if you have realized, but here we don't have NDCs, we don't have LTLEDs, we don't have NAPs. So if that's what you want to edit, this is here in national climate documents submitted to UNFCCC. Same kind of view as before, but as I mentioned, now you have LTLEDs, NAPs, and NDCs. So another of the areas that I previously deleted to edit back here again was the NDC. What I'm gonna do is the same process. I'm gonna go to add climate document and go to the link that I have previously here for the updated NDC. Also in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And just copy the link, year 2022, and that's it. Notice that I am not saving every time. This is because I have several changes to do, and the platform is remembering everything as long as you continue in editing mode. If right now I decide to go to news and events and I don't click save, we're gonna lose the progress. But as long as you're still in editing mode, you will still be able to make changes in all of these areas. So this being said, I'm gonna go to other relevant climate documents. This is where I mentioned that you can put other country documents that are relevant for the transparency community that you want to highlight in this page as a country focal point, but they are not necessarily, you cannot find them here because they are not UNFCCC related documents. For example, sectoral strategy regarding transparency or a net zero policy that is not necessarily submitted as an LTLETS. I would have to go here. Previously, we took a look online and found the climate change master plan from 2015 to 2020. I'm using this as an example now for today's exercise, but if this is not a relevant document that you want to have highlighted in the Thailand country page, we will delete it after the exercise. For now, I'm just gonna copy the link, same as before, and add a document. Here you see that it's actually a little bit different. We don't have predetermined titles because we don't expect predetermined sectoral or national level documents, right? So I'm gonna go ahead here. This was approved in July 2016. So I'm just going to add 2016 as the year. And the title of the document is Climate Change Master Plan 2015 to 2050. 2020 or 2050? 2050. All right. So far, this is the document we have. If we want to add another kind of these policies, we just have to do the same, add, and we will have again link and year. In this case, we don't want it, so we're going to remove this extra space. For the self-assessment, as I said, we are updating the methodology, so we're not going to go in detail today. But just so that you can see, it's also quite self-explanatory. Once we have prepared the methodology, you go to the methodology and you want to add the self-assessment results. You just would have to go here and edit the results of the self-assessment. Last, for the national focal points, we have here all the different information. We have the national focal point, UNFCCC focal point with a name, an email, and the type of focal point. In this case, if you let me go to a Word document where I saved everything, I already have the name and the email of the next focal point that I want to add. I would have to go to add national focal points. And we want to add the Jeff focal point of Thailand. In this case, its name is here. And same with the email. We don't have a picture, but in the case that you want to put your picture or you know the focal point and they don't mind putting their picture, there's a space here for it. And we're talking about the Jeff focal point here. All right. So these are all the changes that I wanted to do in the Thailand country profile, and now I'm ready to save the changes. It is important that before we click save, we check that this is published. In this case, it's already ticked, it's published. If it's not for whatever reason and you make any change in a country profile, in a project, in an event, anything, if you don't click publish, you're not going to see it. So just be mindful of that. It's just a mental checkup that I always do when I'm editing. So now we're ready to click save, and we're going to see the results of all the changes that we've done. The first would be that first, the national communications here has changed. Before it said 3. Now, because we have added a last one on 2022, we have it here updated. So that is the first thing that users can see. The key reports from Thailand. There's 4 NCs now, the latest one in 2022. We can also see the change here. before we could only see 3 NCs. Now we have the link to the fourth here. Same with the NDC. And this box that wasn't there before, other relevant climate documents, the climate change master plan. This is here now. As well, we have a new national focal point, the Jeff focal point here recorded. So this is it for the country page. Are there any quick questions before I go through the Civic project? All right, we can continue for now. And we see that the Civic project is the page is quite similar. And for those of you who are involved in Civic, you will see that it's very similar to the previous Civic platform. Actually, there's a space for featured news, events, opportunities, calls for consultants, etc. And then a list of project details, including focal point information, link to project website. Important to note, if you know that the focal point has changed, please do let us know or let the network coordinator know so that we are able to change the focal point information. As editors, you are actually not able to change the focal point, but it has to be either the administrators or the network coordinators who can change it. So please do let us know. And the only requisite to be appointed as focal point of a Civic project is that you have to be registered in the platform. So it's simply as simple as having an active profile. Then we can select your profile as a focal point and include you as focal point of the Civic Thailand project. We have here the series of project indicators that are taken from the project document, as well as the different status of outputs and activities, project implementation that we are also going to be editing today. This is also taken from the project document and from the regular project reporting. Then we have upcoming news and events. In this case, we have recorded this virtual event happening today, and the different project documents that may be of interest to people working on the project or interested in the project. This is for TORs, project deliverables, etc. Let's go ahead directly and go to the editing page. And we're going to go through the same process as before, actually. We're going to, we can see here all the different areas that Civic Project Manager can add. Actually, we see here there is a space for transparency network and none of it was selected. So I am just gonna go ahead and select Asia transparency network. We have here all the focal point information and region Asia. These are all little checks that once you enter and once you get acquainted with the platform, you're more than welcome to do, because as we have had to take data from all different countries, all different projects, it's normal that that perhaps some data may not be fully updated or that we may have missed a little click like I have just done before. We are going to go to project indicators, and there is one indicator missing here. Actually, there is the last indicator that I'm going to show you how to edit. We have all different indicators, but since we're missing one, I'm going to go to add project indicators. And we have here all the different information that has to be filled out. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste it from the document that I have it here. Normally, what I would do is I would copy paste it from the project document. Here we have the target, baseline 0, current value 0. And the source of verification is the next BTR in the adaptation section. All right, this is it for project indicators. Now we want to go to the project implementation. As you have seen before, we have different outputs, and we saw that all the different outputs and activities were at 0%. This may not be the case, actually, because the Civic Thailand, I think it started in 2021. So it has already gone through some time of implementation. And let's assume that the outcome one has been finished. In this case, what I would do is just change the progress to 100%. By the way, the only thing that we have here is the outcomes and outputs and activities as they are stated in the project document. So as well, when it's time to edit, say that there's been an amendment of the project and there's been activities added, well, the project managers in this case would have to go through this section and add whatever activities have been added. Or whenever there is a new Civic project, this will be blank. So we have to go through this window and add all the main outputs, just copy paste as they are shown in the product. I'm gonna go ahead and change the progress of these activities. Again, I don't have right now all the information. If this is not all 100%, we can change it after the webinar. And we're gonna say that this one is not 100%, but it's 50%, for example, and the next one as well. So this is it for now for the project implementation. And we are missing, say we want to put the actual project document here, which all Civic projects should have the associated project documents here in the page. So we are missing the CEO endorsement document. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and add a project document. Title is CEO endorsement document. Actually, I'm going to change it. This is what it was originally written. We can put a small summary of what the document is about and the language in which the document is written, in this case, English. Lastly, we would go to the file, which I have here from the Jeff page. For all of these PIFs and CEO endorsement documents, we just use what is recorded on the Jeff website. We would choose a file here, copy paste. And you can see here it's already uploaded. There you go. Okay, so we have done a series of changes already in the Civic Thailand page. Now we are ready to check if this is clicked publish. It is, and save. Once we click save, it automatically takes us to the project page again. And we're going to see already some things have changed. If we go to the indicators, now we have the new indicator that we have written. It's already here. And the project implementation has changed. Now these activities are marked as 100%, as 50%. These may not be used to all, but actually there's been many instances where this has been very useful whenever other collaborators or members of the project want to be updated of what is the status of activities. For example, it has happened to us wherever consultants need to get in contact with a specific project and get specific information. This gives them a good overview, and it can facilitate collaboration across projects and across initiatives. We have also added a new project document here, the Thailand Civic CEO endorsement document. We have other areas here, project news and project events. And I want to go quickly. I know that we're running a bit late, so I'm going to be quick with this. We're going to go back to the edit button. And we can see there were some areas that I haven't touched on. One of these is project events and project news. This is where you can add existing events and existing news to the Civic project page. There is also an opportunity to add existing calls for consultants and opportunities. You cannot see this right now because this is something that we are fixing. So later today, tomorrow, it will also appear here, project opportunities, with a space to add the latest call for consultants that your project may have. We're going to go ahead. We see that we have this virtual webinar, the one for Asia and Pacific. But say that I want to add another existing event here. I just have to type the title. Say, for example, that I want to have, again, this same training, but the one we're going to do in a few hours for other regions. And I want to add them here just because they are, imagine they are also some other events relevant to the, for example, this one. Here. So I'm going to add them here. And project news. I know that there is a Thailand related news, and I want to add it, but I click the title and I don't find it. This is probably because the news is not created yet. We need to create the news first, the news or the event or the call for consultants. And I'm going to show you how to do this. First, we're going to click save because we have added 2 events that we want to showcase in the project page. You click save, and now the first thing you can see here, there are more events. More events here that are recorded as we have included. But I actually don't want to add these 3 events. I want to add also a piece of news. As I mentioned, the news hasn't been created yet, but as a content editor, I can do so. So I would have to go through news, manage news or manage events. In this case, we're going to go to manage news. And I have here a recording of all the news that I have created as a content editor or that I can edit. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new piece of news. And this is the portal that you have to create. Let me just go quickly to another document because I have some info here that I can copy paste here. The title say that this is a piece of news about new common reporting tools introduced by the UNFCCC. So we already have a link to a specific piece of news, or we have created the information ourselves. We would just copy paste it into here, into the description, all the different data that we want. And that let's just assume that the date of this news is today. We can add an image if we have a cover image or something that we want to show, and say that this news is relevant to Thailand. To continue with our example, I will click here. Clicking on the country is very important because this is going to then automatically be featured on the Thailand page, and I'm going to show you afterwards. If I click on the Transparency Network in Asia, this is also going to help to be then highlighted in the news and events section in the Asian network. So I'm going to go ahead and click featured because I want to show this on the front of the pages. If it's not the most important news and you don't want to show it, then don't click featured. But I imagine whenever you make news or events, you want to have it featured and you want other users to be able to find this. So we have here some information that we have to click. This is so that it's findable and able to be filtered in the news and events page. This is, let's say, a press release or a story better, and it is regarding climate transparency in a cross-cutting sector, for example. The piece of news that I have written is in English, and it's pertinent to the Asian region. In this case, it's pertinent to multiple. If, for example, this is some collaboration between Asia and Pacific, as easy as use Control-click to select multiple values. So I would go here and select the 2 regions as well as the 2 networks. This is something that I forgot, actually. I would just go back and click also Pacific network here. Lastly, this news, let's say that is, we have to put an agency here, and we're talking about UNFCCC tools. So I'm going to go ahead and select UNFCCC as the agency. What this means as clicking the agency is that this piece of news and this information will also be visible in the UNFCCC agency page that we have, where you can access all the UNFCCC related information. All right, we have inputted all the information. Now I don't forget to click publish and go to save. Perfect. So this has already been created. We can see how it looks. It's the news story. And there's several places where we can find this. We can find this in the news and events section. When we filter by news, for example, we will see, there you go, the first one here, because has been the last one created. We can also see this on the home page. Here we have the news and events, and there's many that are featured. So we just can roll this until we see the piece of news that we are looking for. But remember that we have also clicked on Thailand before as a country in that piece of news. So this automatically is going to be here already in the Thailand country page, as well as the UNFCCC country page, agency page. This is automatically done internally so that it's as easy as creating an event or creating a piece of news and selecting the specific information. Lastly, we were mentioning that we want to highlight this on a Civic project, on the Civic Thailand project to be exact. So we're gonna go to the Civic project page. And first see that this is not automatically featured here because we didn't have that option when created the piece of news. What we have to do is go to edit and over here, project news. Now we can add existing news. We go through the title and the link is here. We click on save. And we will have our event already featured in the page. Here you go. Now we would have 4, so that's why we have the button here for load more. All the things that we have featured in the Thailand page. All right. This I know I'm running a little bit of time, so if you have any questions right now, feel free to cut me or raise your hand and ask. In the meantime, let me go to one last thing I want to show you. All right, so before we stop this presentation and do the last Q&A and finish the webinar, I'm gonna go through the same process again for managing opportunities. Say that we have a call for consultants, for example, for project manager of the Civic Thailand. Or if we go here, let me just say that we want to create an opportunity for consultant on the ETF to work with the climate with the Civic GSP. We have here all the different data that we need to input in order to create the opportunity. So we would go ahead with the title and the specific information. Many times what happens is that I get contacted by some of our colleagues that are either country focal points or member of different agencies or project managers. They ask me to create an opportunity and put it in the platform. And in many cases, what they give me is already a link to the government portal or to other portals where the ad is already featured. So I would just go ahead and copy paste. In this case, let's say that the application deadline is this Sunday at the end of the week, and that this is pertinent for Thailand again. We click on Thailand. We're gonna click on Asia. Sorry. We're gonna click on Asia and also on Pacific. And we want to feature this in the Thailand country page. We don't have an image in this case. We do have a document. So let's say that we want to choose the document and we have here, for example, we can just choose whatever document and add it as a file. Even though I have a link here, I don't mind it. I don't mind doing both. Then region Asia, language English, and this is for the Civic GSP. So I would add Civic GSP as the agency. Once this is ready, again, do not forget to click on published and save the progress. And then this is how it looks. It looks like this, and it's also featured on the Civic GSP homepage, as well as the opportunities page. It will appear here, the first one. And because we said that this is featured in the Thailand page, we will also be able to find it there. And there it is. Civic GSP project to work in Thailand, expert in the ETF. As I mentioned, this is also possible for Civic projects. It's something that we are fixing right now as we speak, actually. So it will also be possible here and possible to be featured. How? Using the same process that we have done before, going to edit and eventually clicking on project opportunities and selecting an existing opportunity. So this has been a quick overview of all the main editing tasks that you can do, either as Civic project managers, engineering activity project managers, or nominated country focal points. As we mentioned before, we have created a guidance document where we have step-by-step guidance on all of these changes and what to do, what not to do, what is expected, and how to collaborate with us as the admin team, as well as your agency and the network coordinators. So again, before I stop sharing my screen, I just want to thank you all for your time and for your availability, and say that we are here to help you along the way and to inform you in anything that needs to be done. Whenever there is changes coming, we will do the process together, and we will let you know when any changes are necessary. One last thing. If we go to communities of practice, we're going to see here all the different forums that we can be a part of. And we currently are active on these forums. We're going to be using them a lot. And right now, after this webinar, I'm going to create, well, actually, it's something that I could do right now. I could create a new forum. I'm going to do it on the Climate Transparency Platform guidelines, just so that if you have any questions, any doubts, any problems, we can just talk about it in the forum together. You don't need to write an email and wait to respond. We can just have the forum here, which we will be checking regularly every week and answering your questions whenever you have. Another thing that is coming in the future, this is something that we're working on right now. We want to put notifications on the Climate Transparency Platform. So this means that you as a user will be able to choose if you want to get notified whenever there are changes, and what do you want to be notified. Do you want to be notified whenever there's a new event, whenever there's a new comment in a forum, whenever there is a new report, etc. Let me just go ahead and put here Climate Transparency Platform guidelines. Then I could say here, this is a space. As well as all data about the Climate Transparency Platform. This is published, and I'm going to click Save. So now we can have this this forum, this community of practice. Here, Climate Transparency Platform guidelines. I am here, and I can add a new topic on do's and don'ts or FAQ about content edition. This is the space that we can the space that we can use to ask questions. Well, I will figure this out now after the webinar. But like I said, thank you all for your time. If there are any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. It was really, really comprehensive and really good guidance in editing and updating the multiple pages on the platform. I know it can be quite overwhelming, but once you've tried it a few times, it gets pretty straightforward, and it becomes pretty user-friendly and pretty easy to do these things. So it's just a matter of practicing, basically. And also just to highlight that we've recorded this webinar, and also the presentation that we will upload on the platform. I've shared the link already in the chat. Yes, thank you also for bearing with us. We know we are a bit over time. It was a tight schedule, but it's better to have a bit more time. If there are any other questions, please feel free to share them here, or otherwise you can always reach out to us afterwards through our emails or also through Ravneet and Jaipal. So there are no stupid questions. If you have any issues also with registrations and so on, please feel free to reach out to us. It's important to clarify all these things to make it work with everyone. Yes, if there are no further questions, then maybe we can have a family picture before I move to the last Menti slides. So just to, a quick nice picture, put on your most beautiful smiles. And good to see you all. Really good to see some faces. Great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Cassiva, will you take the picture, or I will also take some screenshots.
Yes, let me take the picture.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you for the very good guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Bujitma. Thank you. Nice to see you here.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you all.
See
Have
you,
a good day.
everyone. Bye. See you
Thank
next
you.
webinar.
And like I said, if you have any questions or any doubts, please do let us know. Write us an email or put it here in the forums. And please do fill in the Mentimeter that Susanna is preparing here.
Yes, just two last questions. So it's one more moment to keep your attention. Just to inquire about your satisfaction of the webinar. You can be really honest about it. It's really good always to get this feedback so that we can continuously improve these webinars. So that's really much appreciated to get your feedback here. Very satisfied. Yeah, Alejandro did a very good job. So that's really, really good too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for this.
It's just the power of repetition, I think, and having gone through the
Yes.
platform a million times, right?
Also in the very early morning here. Thank you so much for your responses. Just one last slide. Do we have any other comments related to the platform? You can post them here. The questions.
Anything you want to see covered a bit more, or something that you currently don't see in the platform that would like to be there, or something you currently have problems with. I know we have had in the past some problems with the registration. We had different method of registration before that didn't work very well, and we had to change it all. So things that happen when you are creating these kind of platforms, right? So if you have any areas that you want to improve, also we're happy to hear.
Yes. You can also provide these thoughts afterwards if you've any if you come to think of any things. And also just to highlight regarding with the registrations, and I had also discussing in the chat with Eva. So if you were previous users on the Civic platform, on the Civic Global Coordination platform, all the users were imported into the new Climate Transparency platform. So you already have an account. And if you have problems with logging in, then you can reset the password. But if you have been a Civic project manager previously, then you should already have an account in the platform. And if there are any issues related to that, just write to us. I think people are thinking right now, and it has been a lot of input, so I would just stop here because it takes some time to think and digest everything. But yeah, just want to thank everyone. Thanks for joining today. Really looking forward to engaging with you on the platform. Japal Ravneet will also send you reminders and keep you engaged. And thanks so much, everyone, to see you, and we're wishing you all a good day, and looking forward to be with you on the platform together. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day,
Bye.
guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.